MVP, the Mo Vaughn podcast, powered by Vaughn Sports Academy and Perfect Game. I'm Will Burge. Of course, as always, the man himself, Mo Vaughn, live from down in sunny South Florida. What's the weather like down there today, Mo?
Willie, it's getting hot, bro. It's like 85, 87 already, man. It's going to be a seriously hot summer, and they're talking about a big, super El Nino and all of that other stuff. So it's going to be one of those summers. It's hot already.
We have so much baseball to talk today. I mean, we're going to go through I really want to pick your brain on some stuff about like when you really start to decide who you are as a team, and some teams that have been hot so far, some teams that have been cold. But speaking of hot, we were just talking off the air a little bit. You haven't had the boat on in a while. If it's going to be 90 and you're hitting with El Nino stuff, man, you better get that boat ready.
Listen, I told you I did a whole, repower. So I came in with some new Man I-6850s, got rid of some QSM 11s, and it's just been a little bit of a process. But you and I know, as much as we do with our families and our sons and things we got to do, for me, that boating and fishing experience has got to get back in my life so I can relax a little bit. So I'm looking forward to getting out there very soon.
It's the balance, right? I mean, like, you need that balance. When you're go, go, go all the time, that's that place where you can slow down. And for those of the people who don't know that this has been a huge part of your life for a while now. What are you fishing when you're out on the boat?
It depends the time of the season. Every type of game fish can be out there. Mahi, all different types. I went down to Chub Key, got there a little bit early, couldn't get into the marina. The guy took our bags. I jumped out and I caught my first marlin. Like it was crazy, things like that. I've been very, very lucky. My old school boat's been very, very lucky. Just had a lot of great experiences, but the fact of just getting out there seems like when you get out there on the water, like you forget about everything. Like all your problems go away. All the stresses, they go away. As soon as you start coming back inland, it creeps back up. But the 3, 4, 5 hours you're out there, man, you're like, you're enjoying it. The salt water is, hitting your face or the wind. And it's just a relaxing time that's needed if you can get involved with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously down there on the ocean. I grew up most of my life here in Cleveland, which is on Lake Erie, which is a big fishing area too. Obviously, a lot shallower than the ocean, right? So it gets a little different style of fishing, all that up here. But when you grow up near the water, when you're away from it for a while, when you get back to it, it's almost that you feel home again. You know what I mean? When you get back out there.
For me, like my dad he's a great dad. Still lucky to have him around. He took me fishing as a kid. And I always loved it. And then once I moved to Florida, kind of got back into it. And then when I got my own rig and my own boat, there was nothing like it. Now I can't move to anywhere unless it's seaworthy for me. Like there'll be no living in Midwest. There'll be no lakes. It'll be seawater. Seawater, Pacific Coast, East Coast. Is where I really like to put a second boat in Boston, man, because that fishing out there is just unbelievable. So I'm trying to get up there. Hopefully, as my son gets older, maybe he gets an opportunity to go to the Cape League and I can really get up there and get some time. But that's one of my goals, is to get that Boston fishing going.
See, that's what you need, that fishing content coming soon on the Mo Vaughn.
Listen,
Mo Vaughn YouTube.
We'll wrap up. We'll wrap up out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it. All right, let's jump into some ball here, Mo, because we're knee deep in the season now, man. Things are rolling. We only have one team left that has not lost a series, and that's the Atlanta Braves. They knocked off my Cleveland Guardians. We'll get to them in a little bit. But there's some crazy teams at the top of the standings, and there's some teams where you're like, okay, that makes sense. To me, you can throw it to me, whatever you think the biggest surprise is, but it's been talked about time and time again, but I got to go straight to the Pittsburgh Pirates, man. The Pittsburgh Pirates and what they've done early this year, and we knew they could be exciting, but to be 10-6, they're tied for the third best record in the NL. Obviously, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. The Padres have been red hot. We'll talk about them. But the Pirates with Paul Skeens, and even with calling Connor Griffin up and him struggling some there, man, they're getting pop out of the bats. They're pitching well. This is a young, fun team. I don't know how deep they are. I don't know if they can maintain this all year, but how are you feeling about the Pirates so far?
I told you when I went out to Cincinnati, I actually got some tickets and saw them. They got a lot of athletes. And I think the biggest guy is O'Neal Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
I think he started off 077 when I was there, and now he's just flown. I mean, he could take over a baseball game with his strength, his speed, his power, his ability to do many, many things. They have a lot of young talent. Plus, they got a leader in Paul Skeem. This cat, O'Hearn, too, hitting, is another good left-handed hitter. Really takes good at bats. They seem like they know what they want to do. And now the way the league is set up, there's a lot more young guys on the squads than early in the 90s or 80s and 70s. So whoever can catch fire and hold it, you never know what's going to happen. But Pittsburgh, as a individual core of position players, they're as talented as anybody in the league, and it's going real well for them. And that's exciting. You call up, Connor Griffin, you pair, that enthusiasm as a young player. You also add Paul Skeens with his now veteran leadership, O'Neal Cruz, O'Hearn. You got some guys that can do some damage.
Brandon Lowe's got 6 bombs and 14 ribbies already.
Right, Brandon Lowe's 6 bombs, 14 ribbies. I mean, these guys now have been playing together for a little while now. They understand and know their core. I know that, Pittsburgh, you look at them and you go, hey, we only know we're going to get these guys for 6 years and they're going to make changes. But inside that time period, you're putting together some talent that can do some damage. If no injuries, if pitching stays solid, if there's just so many ifs, it's early, but it's great to have those signs over there in Pittsburgh and at that ballpark and at that with the organization.
And those fans deserve it, man. Pittsburgh sports fans are as good as it gets. They're diehard. And I know people will look and say, look at the attendance numbers of the Pirates. The Pirates haven't given them anything to cheer for in so long. You watch. They stay that stadium, which is, by the way, one of the best in America. Gorgeous stadium.
Yeah,
bridges in the background, all the beautiful. That place is going to be rocking this summer if it stays like this. Rocking.
I believe that. Pittsburgh Penguins, Steelers, Pirates, they back their teams if you give them something to play for. And I think if they stay, that fan attendance is going to rise.
And now we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, so obviously some of these things could vary a little bit here or there. But the Reds still floating along. We're worried about injuries, and it's just keeping in the NL Central for now. The Reds floating along. They're still 9-7. The Tito effect, right? We had him on. You talked about this. He gets the best out of his guys. The Brewers sticking around 500. The Cardinals around 500. The Cubs around 500. It feels like everybody's right in that middle swath right now. And besides the Dodgers and the Braves, nobody's really kind of taken off yet.
Look, we know Tito in Cincinnati. He's going to find a way to press the right buttons. And it always seems to me out there, like he gets it. He figures it out right after the All-Star break, and then they go on these runs. Like he knows. It seems like he has an evaluation of time period of, all right, I'm going to work on this month. I'm going to work on this the first, however many days. And then he reconforms what he wants. And all of a sudden they take off. So, he's going to have them ready to go in that second half. And there wasn't much great expectations with St. Louis. The signing of Bregman with the Cubs. They are playing well. I think, like Toronto, it's hard to come back all the time. You start out, you had a great season. Toronto has gone all the way to the end. Same with Milwaukee. Milwaukee was leading, had a great season last year. But what happens is it takes a little bit of time to kick in, and then that talent kicks in. And I think, guys, teams that can stay consistent and keep their head above the water before, by the time they make that move, I think Milwaukee's going to be there and, like they always are with the guys that they have.
I'm glad you brought that up. The time it is to make the move, because I always wonder, and I wonder if it's team to team. I want your perspective on when your time in the league and being around other guys is, when do you look at your record and your clubhouse and go, okay, this is kind of just who we are, right? It's early right now, right? We're 15, 16, 17 games in, depending on who your team is. By the time you guys listen to this, you'll be 17, 18, 19 games in. But when do you look at your team and go, okay, this is about what we are, or hey, we could be better than this, and we're not living up to what we know we are? What point of the season is that, or is it different for every team?
I think it's different. I think every team has a different makeup. I think somewhat like the NFL, every season is a new season. No team stays this completely the same. It's very, very few times that you have the same rotation. And then you got to think about injuries, things that happen, timely hitting with 2 outs. Who was good at it? Does that repeat? All these little variables that everybody doesn't understand to win a division and then hopefully get yourselves in the playoffs, and then to win a pennant. Like, a lot of things got to go right. Like, a lot of things, you need a little luck. Baseball, they always say, I'd rather be lucky than good. You need a little bit luck, for all these things to ramp up and go the right way. So then the next year, when, you fall short, Toronto falls short, Milwaukee takes, this, Yankees, whoever did it, got to the playoffs. Now we have to get our mindset back in that form. How do we get back to that form as fast as possible? And it, like you and I are offline talking about the Mets. They're struggling a little bit here and there. Listen, it's still early, but how do we get back to that playoff form? Are the ones that have successful, but damn it, it's different. It's different every time.
I'm glad you brought up the Mets. Because they are struggling. Now, they're only a couple games back. What is it? They're 7-10, so 3 games back of the Braves, who are playing great baseball. We'll get to them too. But the Mets, it's funny because the pitching's there. They're top 10 in ERA. The whip's right outside the top 10. I think they're 11th. The pitching's been there. It's the offense that's been off and on. And the biggest spotlight right now is on Francisco Lindor. And there's something going on. And I know he had the hamate injury before the season. It looked that could be bothering him. He's the type of guy who's going to check in and play no matter what. Always. That's just how Francisco is. But something doesn't feel right there. Like, at what point do you ring the alarm bells on a guy who there's mental mistake? I mean, there's no way around it. There's mental mistakes out on the field with him right now. He doesn't seem himself. How are you feeling about Francisco?
Listen, he's a great player. He's a tremendous talent. You hear these rumblings about team chemistry, different, divided situations that, you're hearing in the clubhouse between different players. And listen, there's always a little bit of division. Not everybody's got to like each other to win. But I think those things in the crazy media markets, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, those type of things can destroy a team. Let's hope that that's not an issue. And it's just that it's early. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to need a little time on this. What has to be understand, listeners, is the batting order and where people are positioned in the order is important. The LA Dodgers are the only team that gets away leading off their best player is because they have a bunch of 3 hitters on their team. But when you're going to win and you're going to try to win a division and then, a pennant, somebody's got to know what's coming. Take David Ortiz, Boston Red Sox. He drove the Boston Red Sox. Why? Because he was in that position. He had a guy behind him, hitting in the third spot. He knew it was coming. So somebody has to be a leader. And I maintain this. You don't want left-handed hitting coming up with an open base with 2 outs. And when the left-handed hitter bats fourth, that happens more times than not. And what does that happen? The baseball guys say what? 4 bases. Because the old adage is you don't want to get beat by a left-handed batter by a right-handed pitcher. It's hard to get 2, 3, 4 hits in a row. So the batting order is very, very important. I always want to stack that number 3 lefty, number 4 righty, number 5 lefty. It causes you have to pick out a guy who you're going to come to. And I think a lot of these teams are just crazy with, oh, I got to get the guy leading off, or I got to have the best guy batting second because he's going to come up, more times in the game. Well, yeah, he's coming up with nobody on base. So when he does his slugging and damage, it's not game changing. Do you want that guy when he's hitting to be a game changer? If the game's tied, we're going up by 3. If we're down 2, we're back in the game. But when you got your best players in positions that they can't strike and do damage, this is why people are not scoring runs. You have to have position people so when they're hitting, it forces the pitch to come at them because guys on base, the outs, all these things have to be thought about. And just the fact that, I need my best guy hitting second. You're not helping yourself. You're not being consistent. You're leaving guys, I say, with their pants down, where they're hitting. Where they hit in the order is important. And it's happening now more than ever. And they're wondering why we got so much talent, but we're not scoring runs because your batting order is jacked up.
I'll tell you how we fix the Mets. I think they're on it already. You ready? They're calling up Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham, he don't care. He'll slap Juan Soto. He'll slap Francisco Lindor. He's gonna come up and.
Yo, I love that dude.
That's some attitude they just called up, and I like it. I like it. They might need that in the clubhouse.
Tommy Pham is no joke, bro. He's a guy that is going to bring the attitude that is needed to be successful. He can help anybody at any time become a champion. So maybe that's the case.
It's funny. You never think about that. You think about, man, all these guys got these huge contracts. They put up these gaudy numbers. These are superstar guys. And then, I just brought up the name Tommy Pham, and we're talking about a guy who's, obviously had a very solid career, but he's, a 256 hitter. He doesn't do anything especially well, but he has that effect on clubhouses when he shows up. What do you like? Did you have any guys in your career that were like that? Were like, man, they were maybe not the most electric player on earth. Yeah, glue guys, exactly. Is there anybody that jumps out to you?
Glue guys. Oh man, we had a bunch of them. I think John Valentin, who I played with from Seton Hall, was a glue guy, a guy that was tough mentally. Jeff Fry. There was a great guy that never really got a start. Tim Naring used to play with the Red Sox, hurt his back. These guys are all guys that can do a lot of things, come to the ballpark, make no excuses, and get the job done. And any and every good team has that guy. Any and every good team has that guy. And you need that. The big guys, you're sitting around, you're getting all the spotlight, the reporters are coming to you. Then there's that guy in the back that does all the dirty work and the nuts and bolts that you don't see, but we know who that guy is. We know who that. And for me, it was Jeff Fry, John Valentin. There was a guy when I played in, there was a couple guys when I played in LA that were great like that. Darren Erstad. There was some other good, really good DiSarcina. And I'm forgetting one who, and I don't know how I'm forgetting. This guy was like a real good friend of mine. I'm just forgetting his name. He was the left fielder when they won the world championships. Come on. How could I forget this guy? But you need those type of players to win. It's not all about the big guys and the guys that are making all the money. It's those guys that are in between that do all the dirty work that you need.
I remember just from, it's in every sport too, right? In 2016, when the Cavs came back from 3-1 and won the NBA championship, everybody remembers the block. Everybody remembers, Kyrie's shot. People forget Matthew Dellavedova was like one of the unsung heroes of that team. Glue guy. He just D'd up, didn't need his points, didn't need his shots. He did what he needed to do. Exactly. How about these Braves, Mo? The Braves look good. The pitching staff, they're number 1 in team ERA. They're number 2 in team WHIP. They got guys balling out here. Drake Baldwin's already having a great start to his year. Matt Olson, Dominic Smith playing with how are you feeling about these Braves? Because they look legit and they're, like I said, the last team in Major League Baseball to have not lost a series yet. That's a good place to be.
They're very talented. They've always been very talented. And sometimes you just need a different voice. And they got a different voice. And now that's what happens. Guys get a little bit older. They get a little bit used to it. This is what Matt Olson's second or third year. He's like the man now. They got a lot of great guys, and they're putting it all together. I always have great respect for the Atlanta Braves. One of my greatest mentors was Jimmy Williams, came over from the Braves. I know he taught me how to be a baseball player. They are a great run organization. Still one of the like Dodgers, Yankees, Braves. When guys get called up from those teams, they know how to play already. It's just that's just the way that they know how to develop their talent. So now they got a great feeling. It's all about feeling. Oh man, we haven't lost a series yet. They get hey, we're used to winning 2 out of 3. All of a sudden, you start walking around with your chest out and gaining that confidence. And then you add that to Ronald Acuna Jr. and you start adding the talent and the guys that they have. And Chris Sale, solid dude, coming, met him in Boston, got Red Sox, going, leading their pitching staff. All of a sudden you get that confidence and now you're flowing and they're going to be tough to beat moving forward.
And you mentioned Chris Sale and that series against the Guardians where they took 2 out of 3 and they absolutely whooped on him in the one game. But the one game, Sale had a ton of traffic on the bases. I mean, the Guardians were all over him. They had runners on base every inning. He just kept getting out of it. That guy's like an ageless wonder. And you flip to the other side of that game. Now look at the Guardians and surprise, surprise, they're tied for the best record in the AL. Now, early on, obviously, them and the Twins both 10-7. The Twins have been red hot. They've won 7 of the last 10. But the Central, the Tigers floating right there, 7-9. Royals 7-9. White Sox 6-10. But I bring up the Central first, Mo, because the Guardians and Twins tie for the best record in the AL. And it is early. But that is the teams with the 24th and 29th payrolls in Major League Baseball. And that speaks to what you were just talking about. You give these teams confidence early, and man, they could be a problem for you the rest of the season. I know Detroit's got the squad, right? I agree. Detroit's going to be there till the end. They just got too many dudes. But you just don't want to see these guys being pesky with you at the top of the division all year long.
There's another guy, but he's actually a stud. He's actually, a great player. I think he needs more recognition. Is our third baseman in Cleveland, and not only is that, but he's glue too. He's an example. He's an example of how to play. You're very, very lucky as a manager when you get a player that's the leader who is the example. Now it's easy to get everybody to fall in line. And he's been doing that his whole career. So all of a sudden now we jump out. We jump out ahead. We jump out of, Cleveland's jumping out ahead, right? They're not coming up late. They're out ahead in the front this time. Now the momentum is building. And when you have that type of player and everybody's following suit, they're going to be tough to beat. And yeah, you're right. Detroit is, they got their names or so-called their names and this and that. But our guy's a switch hitter, so it ain't going to matter facing those guys. It's not going to matter. And Cleveland has battled them down to the end already, so it's going to be a great race.
And we'll see, super early returns. The kid's been just banged up his entire career, so you got to keep your fingers crossed every time he steps on the field. But he may have a sidekick finally in Chase DeLauter, because the last time he had a guy who really was a dominant threat at the plate was Francisco Lindor, and he hasn't been there. It's been a mishmash of different guys. David Fry had a great half of a year for one season, but this Chase DeLauter kid, if he can hang in there, he's got that goofy swing, but man, he puts the wood on the ball.
I seen him whip that left hand, he bottom hand lead that home run he whipped. I said, wow, who is that? That like it was lightning. And that ball came off the bat. See, like there's so much talent, man, out there. You know what I mean? All you need is to get like a duo, a second guy that can really help you. And you don't know how that can take you a long way. And let's hopefully they get that in Cleveland.
All right, we got to go to the AL East now. This is the one that's been so topsy-turvy. The Yankees came out red hot. I mean, they were red hot. Now they've only won 4 of their last 10. They're sitting tied for the top of the division, still 9-7. But if you look who's sandwiched around them, you know, the Red Sox are sitting in the basement at 6-10, and they're having all kinds of issues right now. They're trying to figure out who the hell they are. The Orioles have had all kinds of injuries, them and the Blue Jays, but they've kind of been in different directions. The Blue Jays 2.5 games behind them. The Orioles have outlasted a lot of that. Gunnar Henderson is right there near the top of the league in home runs. Man, this Orioles team, they look feisty.
We talked about
all of a sudden, the AL East all of a sudden doesn't look like it's going to be absolutely dominating. The Yankees are running away with it.
We talked about this, earlier. We were saying if it weren't the normal guys, who's the team that can make the change, who could step up? And we said Baltimore. Why this guy Gunnar Henderson? There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent over there. Listen, I know they drove the left field wall back, but lefties could really do some damage in that ballpark. They've been through it. They've smelled they've tasted the water, the golden water, and then they have also tasted defeat. So they know both. I've never been to a World Series, but it's got to be mentally draining on a club like Toronto, and then they take one of their guys leaves, and we said that was going to be a problem too. We spoke about that. Bo Bichette going to New York, that was a key guy. Mm-hmm. It's tough. They got to get that energy back. They got to get back out there and get that energy. Sometimes you're still knocking off rust from the loss of the World Series too. So you got to get up. You're starting on your knees, and all of a sudden you got to start leaning up and then stand up. You know what I mean? And that takes a little bit of while after you come off of a World Series like that. We see that all the time in all sports. That rust that's got to be knocked off after you win a championship.
And I feel like if they just hang around 500, they're at some point they're going to get healthier because they have just been
exactly. It's just that you just don't want to go too far down that when you do catch fire, it's too steep of a climb. And I think, but everybody's locked up in that. He's tight.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here saying maybe the Yankees won't run away with it, but realistically, the Yankees are one series. Let's scratch that. They are one guy away from absolutely being ahead in that division. That's Chandler Simpson in Tampa Bay. The ringer that dude put the Yankees through in that series, when they just could not figure out how to contain this guy in the base pass, they're moving 5 guys into the infield. They got guys playing all over the place. I love it. You know what I love about? All of a sudden, you got the Nationals, 3 bunts in 1 inning. You got Chandler Simpson changing an entire series for Tampa Bay with his speed. It's not all home runs now. Teams are like, hey, if we can't afford the home run boppers, we're going to figure out a way to do it a different way.
That's the real way. Play the game. If the guys are there to move them over. If you got a guy that's got speed like Chandler, steal the base, put pressure. Like it doesn't. I don't know where the game went to. Is like we're just going to swing for the fences. That never works. That never, it hasn't worked in a long, long time. You think about, remember in the St. Louis Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals in the 80s, where St. Louis have one big bopper, Jack Clark. Everybody else was Tommy Herr, Willie McGee. They were all stealing bases. Kansas City Royals, George, Steve Balboni, or maybe there was one other guy, but the rest of them, Brett, Willie Wilson, they all played the slow, they all played the slow down, the small ball game, and, Frank White with, getting the big hits, putting pressure on people. I don't know when it became that all we have to do is hit home runs to win. But I told you, and we talk about this, when it comes to the playoffs, good pitching will always stop good hitting. So I'm always, when I see guys see the game being played, what is it the old fashioned way? Is it the right way? Is it the baseball guy? Whatever it is, I like when I see it because that's what you need to win to win tight ball games.
Mo, I'm going to make you real happy right now. You ready? Especially after the lineup rant you had earlier. I want you to just digest. This is beautiful baseball stuff right here. You ready?
Go ahead.
If you look at Chandler Simpson, 7th in on-base percentage, that's a true leadoff hitter. He's like, I'm just getting on. And then he has 7 stolen bags already, which I believe is tied for 3rd, right? Let's see, tied for 3rd. Yeah, tied for 2nd, excuse me. So he's top 10 in on-base percentage, tied for second in stolen bags already. He's creating problems in the base pass. Another team that's having a great start of the season, O'Neal Cruz, leadoff hitter in Pittsburgh. He's number 13 in on-base percentage, 429 he's getting on base. He's also tied for second in stolen bags. If that's not true leadoff hitter stuff, forget launch angle, forget all that, put it on the ground, get it in play, and disrupt this thing.
Occupy a base. All we need is one base runner, and that's going to change the grip that the pitcher has on the baseball. I don't know where that went, or who got away from that, or why that was undone. But all the great teams that have won in the past had great guys that occupied a base, which made made what I call the battery, like a tank battery, 3, 4, 5. Like that's like my battery. I go everywhere with those guys. When you occupy a base, that makes your battery work the way that it's supposed to work. So I hope we get back to that. And I think, and I'm going to tell you something else. Crawford in Philadelphia, that has come up with the Phillies, he needs to go to the leadoff spot to help those guys because he knows how to handle the bat and do what he's got. His hitting coach is Mike Leeser, which was my hitting coach, taught me how to do great things. He needs to get to the top of the lineup and start making those other guys better. And why are we're leading, we got leadoff guys hitting 200. What made that right?
Yeah, there's nobody setting the plate right now. And by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that O'Neal Cruz has 5 bombs too. So he's not just putting on the ground. That boy is mashing. He's just playing well right now.
I think he's already tagged with the highest exit velocity in the league, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he just got to touch it. See, when you see him physically too, it's like, holy shit, this guy is a specimen. Just get mechanically sound and do the right things, and you're going to kill the league.
Dude, there was a picture of him, Connor Griffin, and Paul Skeens all standing next to each other. It looks like the Monstars. I mean, they're massive humans, bro. These are not normal baseball players. These are massive people.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. With the physicality, the ability to work out, the strength and conditioning, the force plates, the legs, the arms, all this different, software that's in the game now. Guys are coming out much better, and ready to play at such an early age. Let these guys get up there and let them do it. They're specimens. Let them play and let them learn.
All right, last division for us, the American League West. It's all pretty tightly packed there as well. Rangers sitting at 9-7 at the top. The Astros 6-11 at the bottom. I got to start with them though. Are the Astros really this bad? Because they've lost 9 of their last 10. Mo, they just got swept the other day. They are reeling. Is this the end of what we've seen, one of the most consistent franchises in recent memory, or is this just a little bit of a down dip and we're going to see them rise back up?
Look, I told you I went to college with their general manager. He's a fighter. He's strong. I think they got a bunch of injuries in the pitching staff.
They do.
You can't do anything with injury. When people are injured, when major league pitchers are injured, you don't really fill those gaps. That's why they're in the major leagues, because they're ready to pitch, at the highest level. So Dana's got to figure out how to weather this storm. I think they're swinging the bats well, but when you get down a bunch of runs, that makes that plate gets a little bit wider and that pitcher gets a little bit better. So they got to try to keep themselves in the game and hopefully let their offense strike when it needs to be. But you got to have guys that throw strikes and can get guys out. I think once Dana figures that out, he'll have a chance to. I don't think anybody's going to run away with this division.
Same.
And even listen, look at this Seattle hangover, right? It's tough, man. Kyle Raleigh, 60-something bombs. I remember when I hit 45 one time, 44 home runs in 97, and that was the most I ever hit. And then after that, I never hit 40 again. And I always felt like something was missing. I wasn't doing enough. You understand what I'm saying? It was like, I got to do more. It was always something was off after you have that great season. So I don't think anybody's going to run away with the division. I think that Houston has got to get grounded, get people to throw strikes and keep them in the game, and then try to rework this thing by the second half and see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean the alarming thing here, and as you said it, they are very injured, but they are dead
Yes.
last in baseball on team ERA and team WHIP, and that is a recipe for disaster. I don't care how much you're
You know
mashing, it's tough to overcome that, man. You got to have some guys and get guys out.
Exactly.
And then the other end of that, the Oakland A's, like the Rangers, great, but I want to talk about the A's because obviously there's been so much controversy around this team in the last couple of years with everything they've gone through, and they're floating around 500. I mean, dude, the offense is so much fun. If they can if their bullpen can just keep it together, I feel like they're going to be fun all year.
Shortstop, first baseman. I like them guys. The shortstop has got one walk and he's hitting like 330. How do you do that? He's like Nomar Garcia-Piara, where that dude is ready to hit. You throw a ball near him, and you don't know. Like, his spray chart is just everywhere because you don't know where he's going to hit the ball. Sometimes he'll stay behind it. Sometimes he'll get through it. Sometimes he'll go over you. Sometimes, whatever. He's just a great player. And then our first baseman, man, I want to know who his batting coach is because he knows his way around the batter's box. He knows what he's doing. I like the squad. They're going to be ready when I think what they're doing is they're trying to bide their time until they know that they're going into that new stadium. And I think when they get there, they're going to put this whole thing together with the pitching and the starting pitching, boost the bullpen, and then you're gonna have to deal with them dudes, and they're gonna be tough. They got what do they got? A couple years till they get over there?
Yeah, I want to say it's like 2 more years, but yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it almost feels like they're in a little bit of a holding pattern, but they got tons of young talent through the lineup.
Yeah, those players are gonna be what 2, 3, 4 years in. By the time 5 years in, they're gonna be ripe to be doing great things as a unit. By the time they get to Vegas, you wait and see.
Yeah, they got 3 guys hitting over 306, and they got 2 guys slugging over 500. I mean, those boys can mash out there. They got some bats in that lineup. They're fun. They're not great at home because that ballpark is just kind of disadvantageous to the pitching situation, and they don't have all the great pitching anyway. But man, when they go on the road and the pitching can let them put it in play, that lineup can hang with anybody.
And that's the thing, as I say, is like, it's going to be hard to get a free agent there and over there now, knowing that you're playing in that ballpark, and just put it together to understand in 24 months, I want to be at this level. And I think if they play it that way and keep it going, they can really be ready to do some damage at that time.
Are you an NBA guy at all, Mo? Before we get out of here, I got to find out. You watch any of the NBA playoffs? Are kicking off tonight. By the time people listen to this, they already have a couple of the play-in games done. You watch this at all?
I'm Celtics, bro. Boston. All we do is win.
This is what I was getting at. I'm a Cavs guy now, and I feel like we might be on a collision. If we're not on a collision course, then they need to blow my team up. I know that much. But if we meet up in the conference finals, we got to put a little bit of a wager on this thing.
Put a little bit of wager on it. Listen, Cleveland's got some great players, and they're gonna be a tough out. They're gonna be a tough out. It's all about staying healthy and the matchups. So it's let's hope we get there, and then we could get together on some type of wager.
Yeah, I like that. And I'll tell you what, and we might have to, if they end up playing each other, we might have to go to one of these games. Maybe we have to bring up to Cleveland, or we have to go to Boston.
Roll up. Maybe I'll roll up, or we'll go to Boston, and we'll sit there in our Cavs and Celtic stuff and have a good time.
Hey, I'm down for it, man. Hey, this was fun. Mo, I know we hadn't talked in a week or so. I was out, then you were out. I appreciate you holding it down for me when I was gone, and I know we got some big guests coming up, but it was nice to just refresh on baseball because there's been so much good ball getting played, and we're in the thick of it now, Mo. It's starting to warm up outside. Starting to feel like summer around the country. Yeah,
it's exciting. We're back with the boys this summer. I think it's going to be a great summer. There's a lot of you even said it. Look at the young talent under the age of 25 in the league. Like there's just some dudes that are playing baseball now, and it's going to be fun to watch them and go down the path and see where success lies. So I'm looking forward to it.